Everyone argues about the strongest firebender, but no one ever looks past the surface. So today we're breaking down the strongest firebenders in Avatar. So obviously there's Ozai, Azula, Iroh, John. So shout out John, Zuko, and then I guess Zhao, depending on how you feel. Like, let's get the fodder out the way first. I don't know if you're a part of the Zhao fan club, but I'm not, because that nigga's trash. In terms of this conversation, he's easily one of the worst. Zhao was more of a season 1 kind of threat. He was pressing out Team Avatar back then, and we can tell because when you look at him compared to these guys, it's bad, bro. We have a literal Agni Kai of Zhao versus Zuko, and Zhao got his ass beat. It was bad. Like, Zuko was, this was still dusty Zuko, season 1 Zuko with like the nasty ponytail. Yeah, that guy beat Zhao. Zhao was the worst of the list for sure, bottom of the list, easy. Don't be like that bum Zhao, and like and subscribe. So I'm really mostly looking at like the Avatar series guys, so I'm not looking at Roku and Sozin because we didn't really see him fight. I guess this would be the second to last spot. I'm going Zuko. You know, Zuko's one of the most fan favorite people in the series. A lot of people love Zuko, but I'm gonna be honest, he's not the best firebender. I hope people don't dislike the video or whatnot, but it's gotta be said, Zuko gets a slight amount of glaze when it comes to, you know, his strength as a firebender. Even like Zuko with the perfectly coiffed hair, season 3 Zuko, he's not beating any of the people on this list. I can already kind of feel the typing in the comments of like, oh, he beat Azula, so he's at least around her level. We gotta be honest, bro. Azula was losing her mind. Like, she was literally half an episode away from crashing out. That's not prime Azula. We all know Zuko is Azula's victim. Like, it's been like that since they were little kids. He's been running away from her for years, and we know it's for good reason. Low key in this conversation, he's kind of fodder, so we'll get him out of the way. After that, we're looking at like the master class, the real elite type niggas. These are the generational type of benders. And honestly, depending on who you are and what you want to go off of, any of these 4 guys, or spoiler, girl too, right? Any of these 4 people could be the strongest firebender. It's a fluid list. It's not fluid for me though. The next 2 spots are John and Azula. Honestly, this could be a video in itself, so let me know if you'll want to see that as well. John and Azula, bro, I've been arguing that joint since I was a kid. Looking at Azula, like, we know Azula is probably, bar none, one of the best prodigies in the entire series. She's a genius among geniuses. There's a reason for like 2 straight seasons she was literally pressing out everyone. Team Avatar, Zuko, Iroh, they was all getting bullied. I'm gonna be honest. People talk about Aang, Toph, and Katara like they are, rightfully so, the best bender of their class, right? They're generational benders. Azula bullied all of them. The thing with Azula that people kind of underrate is the fact that she's a very, very precise bender. We've seen her do crazy shit like make fire jets to fly. Obviously, this is a firebending video, but Azula can make fucking lightning. We have to acknowledge that when it comes to her fighting, because she's going to bust that shit out. The weird thing too, let me know if you want to see a video on this as well, and she has blue fire. I don't know why, but this was never explained in the series, so it's some weird shit, but it has to be something. You could say it's like a color change or whatever, but she's the only one in the entire series who has it. If you want to go off of like real science or real nerdy science stuff, blue fire burns hotter than normal fires. If we want to go off of that, which is kind of cap, but we can go off that. If we want to go off of that, Azula has the hottest flames in the series, so that's pretty elite. I'm not gonna lie, but that could be a little bit of headcanon. Regardless of if Azula like top 2 or top 3 or top 4, whatever, you know what I'm saying, I'm not really mad at you. But in a 1v1, I'm taking that nigga John. That nigga, he's one of them ones. He's actually like that. I know I talked about Azula's precision, but he might have the best mastery over fire in the entire series. If you watch John bend, it looks like he's Katara out there. He's really bending that shit like it's water. Obviously, I know John is not gonna beat Azula using fucking burning leaves and shit. He has to actually go crazy and use raw attack power, but John can do that shit. I'm not gonna lie. In terms of raw flame output, John might have the best feat in the series doing that. When he first came through, he made like a giant ass fire wall that was like, I ain't gonna lie, that shit was like 100 feet tall. It might be the best non-amped firebending feat we've ever seen in the series. In terms of like the shape sounds crazy. But in terms of like the raw power and all that, it's really insane. The thing with John is we only really see him 2 times. The first time is obviously his intro, but the second time is low-key more important because we see him during Sozin's comment. This nigga during Sozin's comment was looking like a Greek god. I don't know why he loves firewalls, but he's kind of a firewall merchant because he comes back and he makes 4 firewalls and is just throwing them shits like he's Mewtwo with telekinesis and shit. John has no holes in his game, to be honest. If you're gonna say that he can't redirect lightning, then I'll give Azula the win. I'll have her as a stronger firebender just because if you can't mess with lightning, you're gonna get your shit cooked literally. But assuming John can do that, John and Azula's firebending control is somewhat equal just because they have similar control feats. And obviously Azula gets the technique portion because lightning. But for raw power, bro, I'm giving that shit to John. It's easy John. The rest of these characters were obviously really strong, but this right here is the main event. This is the whole reason I made the video. The thing with Iroh and Ozai is obviously we see very little of them in terms of fighting. We see like one fight for them each, basically. If you asked me this question 3 or even 4 years ago, it's easily Iroh. He breathes fire, he's tough. But I'm not gonna lie, bro, looking and analyzing Avatar a bit more, the strongest firebender is actually Ozai. Ozai might be the most underrated bender in the entire series because no one talks about how crazy he is. We see in the Day of Black Sun, Azula is distracting and her cue that her bending is back is lightning from Ozai, which means one thing: Ozai literally could feel his firebending come back. He could feel the second he got his power back. We've never seen any kind of bender have that control over their abilities at all. The second big thing is the fact that Ozai is the only character in the entire series who can bend fire and lightning at the same time. You need to really think about how crazy that shit is. We know from Zuko's training, if you shoot lightning, you have to be calm. And fire, for the most part, you have to be angry. And we know Ozai's an angry ass guy. So the fact that Ozai was shooting fire to move and spamming lightning like Azula is insane. The best firebending feat in the entire series, and it's not close. Shout out the Avatar creators too, because they did this masterfully. The first time we see Ozai, it's when he's amped with superpower, so he's like a god, like I was saying. But when we see Ozai in Sozin's comment, he is doing shit we have never seen. So I know that I said that Azula can kind of fly with her jets and shit, but Ozai can literally fly. Like, he's fucking Superman in this shit. He's flying through the air with fire, and he's shooting continental-sized firestorm. His first introduction to Aang is literally a giant fire blast, just the aura form. He's doing that just to Cap for no reason. These are like the big reasons for me, at least, why I have Ozai above Iroh. And then I guess here's another one that's a little cappier, but we do have to acknowledge that Iroh isn't even sure if he himself can beat Ozai, you know? The way Ozai is framed in the show, he is seen as like a top tier, or not even a, but the top tier firebending threat. It makes the most narrative sense that no one in the world can beat Ozai except for Aang. That's how the series frames it. So that's why I have Ozai at number 1. But obviously, like, I'm not gonna hold Iroh. If you have Iroh number 1, that's not a crazy take at all. He has a pretty good case, and I'm gonna go over that right now. One trait that's like synonymous with all the goat benders is learning from the source. We saw like Toph learn from the moles and Aang learn from the bison. If you learn from the source, you are most likely going to be the greatest bender of all time. That's kind of what we see with Toph, Katara, and Aang. That is a good case for him to be the best. He learned specifically from the dragons, or at least he met the dragons, and it's implied that he might have learned something from them. So I don't know. The point is, he definitely met and probably learned a lot of fire techniques from the dragons. So that has to be something we acknowledge, you know? If we're talking about a battle of firebenders, I have to give him that edge. Obviously, he has the whole fusion dance shit. I don't know what that really does for a firebender, but that's probably an amp as well. That's another point for Iroh. When we're looking at battling a firebender, specifically Ozai, redirecting lightning is a huge deal. If you can redirect lightning, you can win the fight. It's just that simple. We've seen on multiple occasions, if you can redirect lightning, you can hit Ozai with the magic cylinder and that shit will be GG's. It is what it is. We've seen this nigga Zuko do it, and Zuko's not even that good. We've seen Zuko do it and Aang. Ozai, if he spams the lightning, he will get his shit cooked. The final reason I think you could have Iroh above Ozai is one that I feel like I've never heard anyone say. When Iroh had his resolve before he lost his son, it was a no-brainer that he was gonna be the Fire Lord. Like, Azulon was like, yo, it's going to be Iroh. And obviously I know it was a bit of he's older and whatnot, but we kind of seen, depending on who you are, the rules can kind of get broken. And when Iroh was in his bag, when he was still that evil guy, it was not even a conversation. Ozai was nowhere near being the Fire Lord. In fact, Ozai kind of took the advantage of Iroh's son is dead. I should be the Fire Lord now because Iroh can't do it anymore. Pre-resolved Iroh is probably a step above the current one. Because I think that's also something that we kind of see in the series too, because when you look at Iroh, it does feel like Iroh's a bit nerfed. It seems like Iroh kind of not let himself go, but maybe he let himself go slightly after his son died, which is, you know, reasonable and whatnot. It feels like resolved Iroh is a different type of beast. That guy, I think, is easily above Ozai. But to me, the Iroh we see in the series, I just don't think he has enough to beat Ozai. Ozai has the fire and lightning ability, right? Ozai has the crazy fire output. He's also not slow. His mobility is insane. We see the nigga was moving around like Superman. Like I told you, Ozai doesn't really have any weaknesses in his game at all. Besides the fact that he's super careless with lightning, Ozai has no holes in his game. And I think that in that battle between Ozai and Iroh, I'm probably going Ozai because of it. Let me know if you guys like this video. Let me know if you guys want to see more Avatar kind of videos like this, or if you want to see more anime videos just in general. Let me know in the comments what you guys want to see overall. I'm out. Peace.